Today is Black-footed ferret day, so we have to talk about this conservation success story because it's so important in demonstrating not only how wild populations can rebound, but the very important role of captive populations and zoos in helping wild populations to get back on their feet. So let's start with a who. Who is the black-footed ferret? Well, first of all, they're very cute. You should look at some pictures, but they are one of the most endangered mammals in all of North America. In the 1900s, their populations were absolutely decimated by a combination of factors, including cattle farmers kind of witch hunt on the prairie dog, which is the black-footed ferret's primary prey source, as well as habitat loss and fragmentation and disease, specifically canine distemper virus and the plague, which is not ideal, but is a problem in both prairie dogs and black-footed ferrets. They were thought to be extinct in the wild until 1981, when a dog in Wyoming brought a dead one home to his owners, presumably as a gift. And then at that point, that really got the ball rolling and wildlife officials kind of took over. 18 of those ferrets were then brought into captive situations to start kind of an intensive process to see if we could save the species. At the time, there were more institutions involved. Currently, there are still 6 institutions involved. One is a U.S. Fish and Wildlife facility out in Colorado. Then there's Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, Smithsonian Zoo, Toronto Zoo, Louisville Zoo. I'm forgetting someone, I'm so sorry. Phoenix Zoo. And then Omaha Zoo was also heavily involved until the 1990s. Basically, all of these institutions work together to solve the problems, right? So number one, we have to preserve habitat because there's nowhere for them to go back to if there's nowhere for them to go back to. Then they needed to head start these ferrets so that they were able to go out into the wild and actually survive once they're out there. And then there's the issue of disease, right? I mentioned canine distemper and the plague. So veterinary involvement was important as well because these ferrets needed to be vaccinated against these diseases to give them the best chance of survival once they were reintroduced out into the wild. It has been a pretty successful effort. Essentially, the population went from what was thought to be 0 to 300 to 500 is kind of where the estimates fall depending on your source at this point in time. And every year, another 150 to 250 are being reintroduced into the wild from these ongoing Head Start programs in North American zoos. So what a cool story, because it really does go full circle and demonstrate how important it can be to work together to improve wild populations using the resources that zoos and aquariums can offer. Definitely a cause for celebration.